Okay, in this video I'm going to start actually building my website, and I'm going to just start out with the header. I'm just going to create a really simple menu with a burger and just some kind of a name on it, maybe Martin Technologies or something, and then when you click the burger, it'll be responsive and it'll show you like tutorials about and contact. So that is where I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let me hide myself, and then so I got rid of the default stuff that Create React app puts in there, if we go over to app.js, I'll just show you. I created a component called header in a new folder that I created, components, header.js, and right now all that's returning is an empty div. So my goal is to start out on mobile, create the mobile menu. So right here, I just want something simple, something gray, something with a burger in it, and so I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. And I am a little bit rusty, so this might not be pretty, but I'm going to start by giving this a class name equals header. And that's it. So let me see if I can. I already added the media queries. So we're going to go with less than 600, and then I have the preview open here on the right side. So I'm going to get started, and I'm going to write in max width 600 pixels. So starting with header, and we'll say width 100%, and we'll say view height equals, I think I'm going to go with pixels for this one. Let's see how 75 pixels looks. And it doesn't like that. Okay, I thought VH was a property I could use, but I guess not. So I changed it to height 75 pixels, and you can't see anything. So let's go for, now we want background color. And let's give it a nice beige. Okay, but that's not the exact color I want. I was looking at something else. So I wanted like a light gray. I'll show you the menu that I was looking at. This color gray. I'm going to see if I can find that. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And that's not quite what I want. Let me use the slider. That's pretty good. Also, I think, I remember what I gotta do. So for height, you know what set view H you do, so 10% of the viewport, I believe. So okay, so that made it a little bit bigger. And now that's going to make it dynamic too, which might not work out in my favor. I might change that later. So that's done already. So the next thing that I need to do is actually put some kind of text with a font I like right smack dab in the center of that. And then I also need the burger. And I think I'm going to start with a burger. And I'm going to have to do some Googling because I don't remember how to import a burger into React or the best way to do that. So I'm going to put this on pause and research that. Okay, I can drop a link to this, but I installed a library and added it to my project just as it's shown in this documentation. I installed it using this command, npm install, and then I inserted it into my right into my component right here, button, find menu, and as you can see, we have a button. So the next question is going to be, how can I style that so that it looks decent? I obviously want that to be larger, not going to want it to have a border, not going to want it to be black. It's going to be right here, just 3 bars, and just take up, most of that height. So I'm going to go ahead and start on that. So to start messing with this, I'm going to give it an ID of mobile burger and save that, and then I'm going to go over to my CSS file and select that. And let's see what changing the color does. Okay, good. That's good. And then I don't want a border. Border's gone. Background color. None. If that's an option. Nope, apparently that's not an option. I can just copy this though. Apparently I can't copy that. And I just settled for background color transparent because that makes a lot more sense than the other nonsense I was just trying. Okay, so I want the height to be 80% of its container. Okay, so it looks like I am just screwing with. Okay, so I think I need to change the font size. Let's see. That's actually pretty good. That was not a bad guess. So I already know my challenge is going to be to get this burger over on the right side, and then also I'm going to want a logo that's going to be centered. So that's going to be challenging for me, but I've done something like this before, and I'll show you what my solution is, and you can feel free to judge it. So I'm going to go into header, and I'm actually going to create a couple more divs. I'm going to create a div, and I'm going to give it the class name of header left, and I'm going to create two more of these. I'm going to call this header center, and that's actually where this guy is going to live. And then I'm going to create one more. Called header right. Okay, and you can see nothing changed over there. But now I'm going to make this a flex box. So I'm going to go into here and select this whole header. And I'm going to say display was flex. And align content flex end and justify content and center. And okay, so now that is right in the center, which is not what we want. So now I need to start selecting those divs that I just created. And I'm going to start on the right, and I'll select mobile right, and I'm going to say its width is 20%. And then I'm going to say mobile center. Same, and I'm going to make the width for this one 60%. And that's where the logo is going to live. Actually, oops, I'm going to make this left. So I think you probably see where I'm going with this. I and I want to take up 100%. And that does not seem to be taking effect. Oh, because I did mobile instead of header. Wow, that's not good. Let me replace those. Okay, and to visualize this, I added some background colors. And as you can see, my burger is in the wrong div. So header left, made it aquamarine, header center, tomato. I also had put in 100% for the width instead of 20%. I fixed that. Header right doesn't have a different color, but as you can see, I need to move this into here. So I will go back into here, and I will change. I'll cut this button. And I'm going to add that into, and I desperately need something to make this look prettier. But as you can see, we now have the burger icon in the right spot. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these colors. And there we go. Now, I don't really like how that is not centered. So what if I make this 100%? Hey, that was an easy fix. All right, so next thing I need to do is add my my logo or some text. So I'm just going to do a font for now. I don't have a logo. And I'm going to import this. I think I can just import it in my CSS by copying this. And I want to go to the top of the page and import that. Click Save. And then I can use this. And I want to create inside my header. So we're going to be working in center now because that's where I want to put my logo. Header center. I'm going to put in, let's say an H3, and we'll say ID equals logo. And then in here I'll just put some text. I'll say Martin Tech. Okay. And I see that has appeared. And now I want to add the style for that font. And I also do not want that color. So let me go ahead and go to my CSS. And I'm going to select that. And it was, well, what did I name it? I called it logo. Okay. Good. And then I can paste that in. And there we see it changed. And then I'm going to change the color to white. And then for header center, I want to say text align center. And there we go. I also want to make the font larger. I'm just going to guess 3M. Nope. 1M. Nope. Let me think about this. And this is the CSS I ended up coming up with. So I got the font family in there, the color, no padding, and I got the font size of 1.65 rem, which looks pretty good. It's nice and centered. I did use text align center on the parent div, and that looks pretty good. I think the next step is actually going to be to make this responsive. And I found a pretty cool tutorial on React where it will put open or close into state and use React hooks to change that when you click the burger. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. And I was driving myself bananas with the formatting, so I installed Prettier. Yeah, everything looks a lot better, and every time I save, it formats my code, which is very nice. So I'm going to use the useState hook in React. So let's see. Import. Oops. Yikes. Okay. And then I'm going to set my variables. And navbar open is going to initially be set to false with this useState equals false. And I'm going to have to figure that out. Yeah, so it just can't be up at the top. It's got to be inside the component. So that error is now gone. Okay, I'm going to want to set a ternary operator now, reading state. So over on where the mobile burger is, right here, that we imported from React icons, I'm going to change this and I'm going to add a ternary operator. And I'm going to put a couple of curly braces and put navbar open. And if it's open, we want it to actually show MD close. Otherwise, we want it to show the burger. See how that works. And nothing has changed, which is what should be expected. Now, if I set this to true, let's just test this out and see if it works. Hey, it works. So, that's a good start. I'm going to change this back to false. Okay, but when we click this, we're going to want to toggle something. We're going to want to toggle the state from true to false or vice versa. So we're going to want to add an on click. And on click, we'll say we will create a method or a function called handle toggle. And that failed to compile because we have not created that function yet, but that's okay. So I'm going to create that function now. We'll say const handle toggle equals. this function. Then call our hook set navbar open. And whatever it was previously, it should be the opposite. Okay, so now let's go see if that works. No, that does not work. And I found the problem. This needs to be a capital C. So I think if I do this, it will work. And there we go. So now I am toggling the icon from the hamburger to an X icon. So next thing I want to do is to make my submenu pop up when it's clicked. So my next goal is just to make a div, the same color, show up when this is clicked right here. So I'm going to go ahead and start creating that div. Okay, so now I want to add the menu that's going to drop down when that's clicked. So right above the closing div for this component, I'm going to add another div. And I'm going to give that a class name of, let's see, how about menu links. And inside of that, I'm going to want to do an unordered list. And I will give that a class name of menu nav. Okay, so now this doesn't you can't see it on the page at all. Actually, I think it pushed, yeah, there it is. It pushed everything over. So we need to add the CSS for this first. So I'm going to copy this to avoid typos. Go over to my CSS. And I'm going to make this position fixed. And remember, the view height of my my banner up here is 10 VH. So I'm gonna make the top 10 VH. I'm gonna make the height 100 view height. I'm gonna make the width 40 view width, and then I'm going to make the background color tomato so that we can see it. And there it is. I want to make the right 0, and there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and change the color. Something a little bit more subtle. There we go. Now the color matches the banner. So now let's add some items to this unordered list that I created. Don't do that, please. Okay, so I would say I'm going to add, let's say, offerings. And next we want to add tutorials. How about portfolio? And about. Wow, beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to want to go into app.css now, and I'm going to want to add a class for menu nav. Maybe color white. Let's make the list style, none. That's much better already. And then we are going to want to change the font family as well. Not super wild about that. I might change that. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and select these. I'm going to select the list items. And then I'm going to add some padding to the top. And I'm going to change the font size. And that looks a lot better. I don't really like how tall this is. I think this could be a lot shorter. Unless I added like a logo or something down there. But I'm going to leave it how it is for now. So the next goal is to add a class based on whether our state is set to set navbar open or not. So what I'm going to want to do is add another ternary operator right here. So once again, is navbar open? If so, show what we have right here. And so I'm going to have to move this down here. And then add the if not, then don't show anything. So now we can test this. Let's see if it, and boom, it's working. There it is. I have created the first part. Now, there's nothing to click here yet, so I will add that in later, but I have my responsive mobile menu set up. This was probably a horrible video to watch, but if you did enjoy it, like, comment, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you.